Right, everyone, welcome back to Gridlocked, Locked and Loaded, the Alliance Tournament show, where we explain everything about the Alliance Tournament in understandable format. Today, I have brought with me CCP Antiquarian, CCP Zelus, and CCP Overload, and myself as CCP Lumi. We're gonna talk a lot about matches today, and mainly about what matches look like in the Alliance Tournament. So I think we just, without further ado, we start. CCP Zelus, if we talk about a match in the Alliance Tournament, what am I imagining?
You are imagining competitive PvP. You are looking at 10 players versus 10 players in the arena. That is 10 individual players. They can technically be multi-boxing, but it's not particularly advised.
It is difficult.
It is incredibly difficult. We've seen it tried in the past, but it doesn't normally result
Shout
in...
out Team Cube. Did it in New Eden Open, I think. 8-boxed his way to a loss.
Yeah. It happens.
Still a win in my book. I can't 8-box.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. But yes, they are brought to an arena of death, essentially. People are going to die one way or another, whether it be through their enemies or boundary violating.
Or on the desk.
Or on the desk quietly, or with a lot of noise also, apparently. But yeah, that is essentially your match. You're bringing 10 people to an arena to battle it out, and a winner will be decided one way or another.
Right, it's a 10v10. Can it also be less than 10? Say you have trouble getting your team together?
Yeah, so technically you can do less than 10. It's actually governed by the amount of points that you bring. So every ship has a certain point value associated with it. So you could bring a team of 8 and then still use all your points. You just have like a heavier comp, so to speak, with 8 people, for example.
We'll come back to that point value a little bit later, but for now, how long does a match last, CCP Antiquarian?
Oh my god, they last forever, and you're sitting there waiting for them to end, just like, I gotta go home. I'm sorry, I'm not close enough to the microphone now. My bad. No, it's like 10 minutes, I think. And then at the end of the 10 minutes, if things are undecided or we're feeling particularly capricious and sadistic, then we give you 5 minutes of, do we have the sound effect?
Overtime.
There we go. Overtime. Is that sufficient? Would you like another
sufficient.
answer? Do I get the points?
You get points.
Yes.
And CCP Overload, that overtime has something special, doesn't it?
Yeah, so if you're an EVE Online player, you might have experienced time dilation known as tie-dye, where the server's under a lot of load, everything starts to go slower and slower so that the server can catch up. Well, in Alliance Tournament, we do the exact opposite of that. We do reverse time dilation, reverse tie-dye, where things get faster and faster and faster. That means your modules cycle quicker, you move faster, your modules burn out faster as well. So you have to be extremely careful. And it starts off at 1 speed and it ramps up and up and up and up until I think it's like 750% time dilation at the end of the 5 minutes of overtime, which means everything is going 7.5 times faster than normal. You can cross, if you're an interceptor, you can cross the arena boundary in like 2 seconds. You have to be extremely careful. You'll burn your guns out in a second or two.
Have we not considered doing this on TQ? Just like for a minute?
just in the middle of a giant battle.
Yeah.
Why not?
Just for the heck of it.
I remember the first time it was tested over on Thundernode, it was actually pretty funny because like any other systems that were on the shared node, when your reverse time dilation kicked in all those other systems. So if you just happened to be traveling through one of those other systems, you just went really fast all of a sudden.
I am on board. We should do that every Wednesday.
Surprise speed. Yeah.
We make a race out of it.
Yeah. God, that would be so difficult.
So that have we ever seen that happen in your like collective memory of the Alliance Tournament?
Yeah.
Have we hit the 750%?
Yeah. So it doesn't happen super often. I believe the last time it happened would have been Alliance Tournament
Not the last
19,
one before that,
right?
yeah.
So I remember this because we were in the studio and we were watching the match and they were tied. It was getting closer and closer and closer to, going to the 10 minutes. And we were like, oh my God, we're going to have reverse tie-dye. We're going to overtime. I was like, CCP Zelus, when's the last time we tested this?
Does it still work?
And he was like, I don't know. And we didn't know if it was going to work or not. We were watching it and then it went to overtime and everything started going faster and we were like, hooray, it's working. And I can't remember how far it went, but I think it went right to the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the other interesting thing with it as well is it's not a case of like, because it's the progressive increase in time, it's not just a case of like the next point wins. It's a case of it will continue until either the enemy or one of the teams is eliminated or time's up. there's 2 extra like contingents here. So if time's up and it's still a draw after overtime, the first thing that counts is the size of the attack bar, which we'll get into in a minute, at the start of the game. Whichever team had the highest attack bar at the very start, the moment the timer hit 0 and the match started, whoever has the highest attack bar is given the win. So if you want to take the risk and have like short range, high damage ammo at the start and have that huge attack bar, you can. But then obviously the first thing you may have to do is reload your guns. But there's also another option where if for whatever reason both attack bars are exactly the same, it then just does a coin flip.
Which we've never had to do.
Which we've never had to do. I don't think in the history of the
we
AT
have
it's
seen one tiebreak go to the damage bar that I remember. I can't remember who that was against, but Shadow Cartel, I believe, lost a tiebreak after a Bomber Tinker in Alliance Tournament 13 because it went to the full final time. I think this is correct. And it went on the attack bar tiebreak. That's the only time I remember that happening.
Very rare. Very rare. Yeah.
So if we like run some predictions, look into the glass ball for like the upcoming tournament, are we gonna see reverse tie-dye?
I hope so.
I want
absolute
votes.
shenanigans.
It matters how people perform on the day. What matters is how people are behind their ships. It's not what comps they're bringing. It's not like, it's how well they've practiced. It's how well they know their stuff. It's how well they actually apply. So will they, won't they? I don't know. Like, will it, how long is a piece of string? It's the same kind of question.
I think it's less likely to happen these days because of, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, the points granularity has increased significantly from the old days. Obviously, it's 200 points versus 100. More ships are individually pointed than ever before, which means that even if you kill a couple of ships, in the old days, it was quite likely that you were still on the same actual raw number of points. These days, you're much more likely to be in different numbers of points.
Well, on the topic of points, we might as well go into it now. CCP Zelus, how does the IGC decide on points?
Ah, yes, the IGC deciding on those points. Yeah, so every single ship is pointed. So as time goes by, we've tried to make like individual ships vary in value because traditionally over the Alliance tournaments, categories of ships were pointed the same. So, for example, if you were considered a frigate group, they were all kind of the same point value, but we've realized over time that some frigates are worth more than others, so some ships invariably become cheaper and some become more expensive, but the idea is both sides have I'm being looked at.
I know, I'm just curious, did you tier list?
I basically tier listed.
Do you have it?
I mean,
that's the point.
It's
on the rules.
It's all the points.
It's like, no, but I mean, like, do you have your like thought process behind it? Like, did you look at data off of like what people were
combinations of how I feel they used on TQ, but also because how I see them in the arena and they're used in practices as well. It gives me an idea of how they're used, and yes, the data behind it. It's really difficult as well because of the specific format of 10v10. Like that realistic encounter doesn't
it's
typically
not
happen.
They don't get used the same way on TQ that they get used in the tournament.
But what I do have is now the community and the eventee guys have collected enough data over the years that I can now look at from tournament to tournament how much a ship is used, how much is not used. So it comes down to a lot of ships have now unique values. There's still some groupings of ships, and as each tournament comes along, I set more and more unique values. And then, like, if a ship is not really used in the tournament, then we make it super cheap. But if it's also used a lot, then we increase the value.
Can we offer like prizes for like using the jankiest ships?
Yes.
Like using the worst equipment. I think we should most
yeah.
certainly have a like, hey,
I mean,
you tried.
We
award.
saw a battle badger last year, I believe, in the tournament. So it's like 2 points. I'm always a big fan of the battle badger.
I think that was Lebowski's favorite ship, like back in the day. That's old school shout for those of you watching at home who remember the antediluvian times when I joined.
Legendary industrials. Every time somebody sees them, they're like, "Hey, it's a battle badger." It's great.
I'm just so happy how it just makes you all three of you just instantly go happy face thinking about the battle badger.
So are you gonna ask us a question makes us sad now?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I mean, I can. I was just gonna move over to what we call Fancy UI, which is the tournament UI, where we show all the stuff we've just talked about, like the team sizes and the timer, etc.
I actually have Fancy UI with me in my pocket. Watch, I'm going to take it out. Here it is, and I'm going to throw it up onto the screen. There you go. Now, CCP Zelus can take us through this, and our editor will definitely do that in post. Thank you.
All right, starting at the top, we see the teams.
So yeah, we, as mentioned at the start, we end up with our team. So this is just a caption actually from the feeders for the current Alliance tournament, which is Alliance Tournament 21, where we get to see the 10 players on each side. We get to see a column with the point values for each of the ships. We get to see the names of the individual pilots, the speed they happen to be doing, and then we essentially have the equivalent of health bars. So we have their hull, their armor, their shield, which is just shown as a progressive bar, and then the ship name or the abbreviation of the ship name. We can't see it at this point, but we have red team on one side and blue team on the other side as our two separators. But this is essentially the breakdown of the 10 players on each team.
All right, then in the top middle we have the timer.
Yep.
It counts down from 10 minutes. This particular one was taken at 7:54.
Yep. So this is just the progression through the match. Once the match kicks off, it starts off for 10 minutes and counts down. And then if it gets to 0 and we have to go into overtime, then we kick in our next 5-minute timer.
Does anything ever stop the time? Do we ever like?
I made a pause button. It hasn't actually technically been used yet in the tournament, but it turns out when you figure out how to manipulate time dilation, you can actually set time dilation to like 100%, and it just pauses the universe. I haven't quite got there, but I'd like to do like a timeout feature at some point in the tournament.
Zach Morris shows up on screen. All right.
Oh, that's future dreams and hopes.
Absolutely.
Timeouts in the Alliance tournament. Then at the top, next to the timers, we have the bars that you already alluded to. Can you take us through them, like starting from the top?
Yeah, so at the very top, we have actually the team names on each side and the current points on the particular sides as well. And then we break down defense, attack, and control bars. So these are colored and slightly differently depending on what we want to show. So on this particular match, the defense bars on them are very, very big and very, very blue. Blue is the actual passive defenses of the ships. So that will be like general resistances of the ships, their overall EHP, the health of each side. Sometimes this bar will also have a little bit of purple in it, which is actually showing their active reps. So if they are an active fit ship and they are actively repping, or they're getting hit by logi drones, for example, we'll actually see a little bit of purple, which is them essentially restoring their defenses a little bit more. We have attack bars. So we have some of these again, which are grayed out, which is like the theoretical max amount of damage the team can apply. And then the red bit that fills it is actually the applied damage at the moment. So we can see how much damage one side is applying versus the other. And then finally, the control bars. Again, this is a gray bar initially showing the max theoretical amount of control. And then the green bar fills it as more and more effects get applied, which leads quite nicely into...
effects. CCP.
I had a question first. That like, are we updating these bars on tick or?
Yes.
They update every tick.
All right. And then I had another one because like it's been forever since I saw any of this. I'm like, oh my god, graphics and stuff. Do we not highlight or somehow show the flags in the rosters?
You mean flagship?
Yeah.
We don't show it here, but usually the commentators will know. I mean, they have to. The teams declare they have a flagship.
Yeah. I mean, I know that
but
we
not
know,
in the UI.
but like this is for the viewers at home.
The
Overload.
commentators will have to say it, but at the moment, one way you could tell is if the ban includes a ship that's on field,
Obviously.
you can infer that is in fact a flagship.
It's actually announced to the teams who's in and what flagship has been fielded when they're facing each other in the field. So they get to see literally in the final 30 seconds before the match, okay, that guy's in a flagship. You then have to decide, hey, am I going to go after that guy, maybe at the cost of the match, or just make the decision as to how you're going to react to it. That control bar, for example, like we can see in this particular match, for example, in the bottom right, the Maulus has a little rep icon being applied to it. So this is just a ship being repaired, for example. But then on the top left-hand side, the Navy Armageddon of Nymph actually moment has... a painter being applied to it, and it looks like it's also being tracking disrupted, but also repaired as well. So we have both repairs and control effects being applied to the ship. So these are just the icons for the corresponding effects that we see in game. So if they're being repaired, neutered, so on and so forth, the whole plethora of different things, it will appear here in the middle of the UI as well.
Slightly more granular. Is this effects that are being actively applied to the ships, or just effects being fired off and we're praying that they apply?
So the only real exception to it is everything that you see on here is being applied to the ship with the exception of ECM. ECM, it shows, is obviously dependent on... You can apply it to a ship, but doesn't mean they've been successfully jammed. But it will show on Fancy UI the ECM icon to say that they're attempted to be jammed. They may be jammed, they may not be jammed. So that's the only.
It also doesn't have anything to do with fall off. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you're right at the edge of fall off of like a newt, for example, then you're getting like less muted, then it's still going to show the same icon.
All right, and then I know because this is one of CCP Overload's favorite topics to yap about, let's talk bans.
Yeah, so we got a brand new ban system this year.
Wait.
There is in fact a air horn button over there. CCP Convent. Yes.
I did fine. I think I did fine. We don't
You
stop
make a good air
robots
horn.
stealing our jobs. We were just talking
CCP
about
Convict
this.
is not a robot. He's
Can you
just
prove it?
Australian.
We don't know. It's impossible to tell. All right, bans. Let's go.
Bans. We got a brand new ban system this time around. So we have introduced a system essentially that it's relatively common in actually competitive play, where they have like a pick ban system. So it's a case of each side would pick or ban something in competitive play. In EVE, we just have competitive banning.
It's quite competitive.
It is
Ship
pretty
banning.
competitive. Yeah, ship banning. So it's a case of one side will pick. They have a limited time frame to be able to pick a ship that they would like to ban. We normally give them a small amount of time and then like a total pool time as well. So they have essentially 5 minutes to ban all the ships they want from beginning to end, but they give them a little bit of time. So if they've spent a bunch of time at least thinking over what they'd like to ban, they have a little bit of small time to be able to input the bans. But at the moment we do one ban on one side, then 2 bans on the other side, 2 bans on the original side, and then back to 1 ban. In the main tournament, this is actually data from the feeders where there's just 1 round less on each side, but they also get an extra 2 rounds in the main tournament. I'm being.
No,
way
I saw
back.
fingers pointing. Do we have a question?
No, I was doing Tim Curry from Clue. It was like, so 1 + 2 + 2 + 1.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, got it. That makes a lot of sense.
Take it
It's
in
very
turns.
fair.
Yep. We also now show the actual timings for each of the bannings as well. So we actually get to see if a team took, like, if they just like straight in there in terms of what they wanted to immediately ban, or if they actually gave it a little bit of thought, then you get to
That's
see
my
the
advice.
active timing.
Just vibe ban.
Just go
Vibe
for
ban.
it. The super cool feature of this is we actually now get to see them live, so to speak. So we can actually go round by round as they come in if we want to. But when we get to our best of 3s and best of 5s right at the end of the tournament, whilst we're talking on the desk, you'll actually see the bans come in live from each of the teams, which is going to be super cool because they'll be able to react to them as they see them.
Besides the ban tool, we have one other new feature this AT made by someone in the community. And specifically for you guys, the viewers, we have an overlay tool on Twitch, CCP Zelus. Will you explain?
Yeah, Hoff Winchester, I believe was the individual's name, who came up with this super cool tournament overlay, essentially. When you're watching a game now on Twitch, as you're watching it live, you have the ability to mouse over both the ship and the player names. If you mouse over the ship, it gives you the general like traits of that particular ship. It doesn't give you the like minute details because there's a lot of details obviously corresponding to every individual ship. So it just gives you a general idea of like, hey, what does this ship do? So if you mouse over the ship, it gives you like the trait details. And then if you mouse over the name of the pilot, if they've played in previous tournaments, it will give you general statistics to that individual player as well. How many kills they may have achieved, how many ships they've flown, how many tournaments they've been in. We also have a new thing in the community called EVE Open Skill, where if they've played in multiple tournaments. Sothrazil, one of the other people who runs the Anger Games, has made a like skill ranking system. We don't like ranking systems because nobody likes to be ranked to anything because you just want to be good. Everyone, you're good until somebody tells you otherwise,
I
right?
have a feature request for Soth. If someone boundary violates, their skill is set to 0.
0.
Yes.
Yeah, just completely reset.
Done.
Do we have like a stochastic complex calculation that comes afterwards? You take the rank of the pilot as assigned by the assessment of that tool, and then we factor in your tier list rank of the ship to get their total threat assessment at the end.
I mean, that's basically what the Concord assessments, the threat assessments are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be valuable. Then we can get like slugging percentage for like how many killing blows in tournaments. If they've never been in a tournament, it just goes, get good, noob.
I wonder if there's a tournament scoregami then as well. There's more.
Asking the important questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a super cool tool. You'll be able to see it and interact with it during the tournament broadcast as well.
So I think by now we've built the entire UI up on the screen. So if we look at the points total next to each team, what does that stand for? What does it mean?
So
I mean, it's a total of the points of all the ships they have selected.
Quick
CCP
maths.
Zelus, yes.
Yeah.
So they have 200 to choose from. 10 ships worth. That could be 10 ships at 20 points each, for example. That'd make perfect sense. But of course, the world doesn't work like that. So you end up with some that are more points. Sometimes you'll see absolute mad lads bringing like triple the shack, and that's 150 points. And then they have 50 points to squeeze the rest of their team into. I think it's still 50 points for the shack, is it?
It's gone down a little. I think it's 47 now.
Well, the point stands.
Yeah. Or
And
not.
Still a lot. It's still a lot.
sometimes
47 is very respectable.
So sometimes you see on-demand comps, for example, they'll have more big ships because they have less to sort of divide it between. And this is sometimes people make fun of like on-demand comps, especially if they're like 6 or 7 people. I always say they've at least turned up. There are teams that have not been able to field the full 10 and they've just thrown in the towel and given up. But the teams that bring on-demand comps and actually put in a good show and try are to be respected, because I think that's pretty cool.
I think I think it was during Alliance Tournament 19. I laughed so much because I think Test arrived with an on-demand comp. They won. Then they found another person to fill out the comp and then lost. So sometimes the on-demand comp is the thing you want.
It's not about the numbers. It's about the people at the keyboards
There you
operating
go.
the ships.
Exactly.
Coming back to your original point,
As
it's
I
about the
say,
practice.
We learned
Yes.
nothing from Dominic Toretto. We learned that it's not what you have under the hood, it's who's behind the wheel.
It's about family. That's
About
what I learned.
family, yeah.
So the other important thing about points total, by the way, is if you don't use all 200 points, you can bring a comp that is 198 points. That's just totally fine. No one's forcing you to bring all 200 points. But at the start of the match, the score will be 0-2. The other team gets those 2 points that you chose to leave on the table. And we did see, I can't remember if it was last year,
It was.
but there was a team that came with 1 point down, and no one killed anything the entire match, and it would have gone
And
to
they won.
overtime.
Yep.
But the team won with 1 point because the other team came 1 point down. So I think they're the only tournament team in history to win a match without actually killing anything.
A win is still a win.
I
The
find it-
pacifist run is what we called it, wasn't it?
Yeah, pacifist
The
run.
pacifist run, yes.
I find it super interesting, especially when you have ECM comps, where they're really kind of built around, hey, let's engage when the other team is jammed. But you can absolutely spend like 9 minutes waiting for the optimal jams to happen. But if you have that 1 point on the enemy on the other team, it's like it's on the other team to come and engage us at that point. We can just sit here and wait all day. It then just becomes a game of like mind games of whoever's going to engage first is typically the one that's not going to win.
All right, and then the points do something more. So if your team's point total goes up, we like that. That's good. How do we get those points?
I don't know. How do we get those points? I don't think there's any way to get them. I'm a pacifist.
Mathematically, by boundary violating.
Yes.
So typically, the points are just decided by what ships are remaining on each side. Obviously, as I say, every ship has a unique point value. So if you kill ships on the enemy team, whatever the value was associated with that ship in terms of points is then added to your score. Quite simply. Alternatively, as I say, if you actually boundary violate, that is, if you leave the arena. Whether you micro jump drive out or you accidentally fly out, however it may be, the point values of your ship are also deducted and applied to the other side.
Was it Pandemic who just boundary violated for like every tournament?
Yeah, that was the old.
There's a
old
reason
TL.
CCP Swift
Yeah.
isn't here today. It is,
So
in
we
fact,
can
he
freely
boundary
talk about
violated
it.
and was eliminated from the tournament.
He didn't just boundary himself, though, did he?
He claims not to.
Apparently not, yeah.
But I don't believe him.
I think he's violated boundaries. We had a line.
Whether the
between-
tournament was part of that.
We had a line between commentators and CCP, and it's been crossed. Oh, hey, actually, speaking of that is an element of the UI that you did not mention. Down in the lower left-hand corner, for every match, you will see the names of our volunteer commentators, and that's a great way for people to get involved in. I mean, not get involved. By the time they're up there, they're well involved, I think. But like, I have made a ton of good friends through spending time with the commentators who come over and like going out and meet it. Like I flew out to Nottingham. What was it?
It was,
20,
Yeah, that was in 2018. I launched him in
2018.
16. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
That
triple
one.
disc.
Yes. That was back about this.
But that's just a great thing to do if ever you have the opportunity, or if you just want to like talk about the tournament, like run your stream, get on there and save the video and send it to us, because that's a wonderful thing to do. It's awesome. It's awesome.
There's also plenty of community-run tournaments. I know we're on a bit of a sidebar, but it's a good
That's
one.
fine. Keep
Community-run
going.
tournaments right now is a great way to get started as a caster, commentator, or analyst. You got people like Jintan and Sorthasil are organizing things. There's a few other independent groups that are organizing tournaments. It's never been a better time to get involved as a player or also as an analyst. I highly recommend giving it a go, because it is, as CCP Antiquarian mentions, a lot of fun.
It helps if you have like a sick radio voice or like just something that can go across there. You're like, oh, they're moving across the arena now. We can see them unloading those gems. Will they hit? They've got a jam off. Like,
True commentator voices.
Yep, epic.
So,
I got nothing.
detour over. We're going back to what we were talking about. Eventually, the timer runs down, or all enemy ships get exploded. That is a win, obviously. If you explode your entire enemy team, you win. How else can you win?
I mean, you can win just via score. If you have killed more points than you have lost, there's just another simple way to win.
Simply score more points than the opposing team.
Yeah,
It's that easy.
just win.
Just win.
Just win.
All right, we've already talked about the draws and what happens then. We go into negative tie-dye.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about time we start talking about the arena itself, where the actual match happens. And we have got a great explainer video for this that I know CCP Overload can talk over really well. So I am going to let you fire it off.
Okay, so as you can see here, here's the tournament arena. It starts off that the teams pick beacons between A, B, C, and D, and they're teleported by the GMs from the station they're in to one of those beacons, wherever they pick. Those beacons are way off of D-scan from the arena and from other teams. They then have to warp into the arena at a range of their choice between 0 and 50. Do not warp greater than 50 because you will be moved to 0. That is illegal. Once you land, you'll see that you've come in either directly across or an angle, depending on the beacons that you chose. And in the center of the arena, you'll see a micro jump drive beacon thing, and that, when you activate, will ping you 100 kilometers in the direction that you're facing. There's also a cube of 8 more around with 100 kilometer sides. So good teams, you'll see, especially towards the end where they need to stay alive, not lose any ships, you'll see them do what we call bouncing the jump drives. Well, they'll just go around the beacons and try and stay alive by jumping from one to the other. That is the arena in the Alliance tournament. CCP Zelus, back to you.
I was just thinking that you have to just make sure you're aimed correctly, or just make sure you're not going to get bumped by an enemy team that happens to be flying directly towards you when they see you activating a jump unit, and you get flown out of the arena.
It is also very funny when that happens.
It is incredibly funny when that happens. Yep.
Now that is the arena. Where is the arena?
The arena is in a special
Our
area
hearts.
of space in our hearts. So the tournament's taking place on Tranquility. This is happening on TQ. And the arenas themselves are in special area of space in the Jove systems, which are only accessible by developers. So the players get teleported briefly out to that system. They warp in, they do the combat, and then they're teleported back.
However, the IGC would like to say that it is not in fact in Jove space, but is in fact an unknown area of space.
It's Jove space.
It's Jove space. Yeah.
Have we experimented? Have we thought at all about ways of enabling in-person spectators?
Probably. We should just have the arena on the G244 undock, and you can fly into it.
No, I mean,
like a pitch invasion.
Look, I'm not talking about like that. I don't want to invalidate the tournament, but like just the idea that you could go there. Like we could encourage people on game day. Like this is East End, Glasgow, right?
All right.
We're going to Celtic Park. We're gonna see what's happening. We might run into some kerfuffles along the way, but it's worth it because you get there and you get to like look at the ships directly. You get to see the teams warp in. Like I think this is a missed opportunity.
It's something that's been on my mind as well, because it's also a case of like a lot of the actual tournament broadcast, you're trying to balance elements of like making a tournament look pretty, in sense of like if you're relatively new and you're just here to see your spaceships, you want your close-up shots. If you're a veteran, you're more interested particularly on like how the teams are positioned, so you're kind of more interested in that tactical point of view, which if you were ringside, you'll be able to see that and be able to figure that all out yourself.
Plus, then pitch invasions can be a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
So one of the things, like, don't get me wrong, this is like exists in my brain. It's not a thing that's
purely
down.
theoretical.
Yeah, this is like a pure theoretical.
This is not a commitment. This is not coming to the live server of the Alliance tournament anytime soon. Go.
I think it comes from me watching probably too many science fiction shows as well, I will fully admit. But the idea that I'd love to have is like a replicated arena. So like you see the arena as it exists that they're playing in.
Like a hologram.
But yeah, exactly. Elsewhere in space. So you could have like a drive-through where you turn up with people and you could just see the like fight that's happening. But then you could also have your ringside seats where you could go join like your friends, but you could also see the match as it's happening out in space. Because there's absolutely people that would love to see like it in space at the same time. But the problem is if you're bringing people to that system and they have the ability to interfere, then it kind of throws the competitive play out.
No, but I mean, it's just like any other sports event. You've got security on site.
Yeah.
So Concord all around.
just fills the
and
arena.
then you have like an absolute like you can activate your engines. You can go. But if you activate any module,
Security.
you get popped just immediately. And if you're in a pod, you get popped immediately. You have to come in a ship. We recommend you don't fit it with anything.
So you go in a shuttle, is what you're saying.
Sure.
You have to put
Abs-
all your
abs-
liquids
yeah,
in a clear plastic bag.
You gate warp ins.
Plastic bag.
Gate warp ins
No more than 100 milliliters.
through a gate, just like a stadium. Oh my God, this writes itself. Someone give me
Right
a,
now,
give me
there's a
keyboard.
project manager shivering in fear. They don't know why.
Teams suddenly thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to arrive in a system. There's going to be 5,000 people on the system when I arrive.
Oh yeah, that might.
We might
Also
get
be
run
slightly
into
problematic.
tie-dye
No,
issues
but I
here.
mean, if we slug it down,
Problem
to
solving
shuttles,
live.
Yeah.
we're not activating any modules. There's no effects.
Negative
flying.
time dilation with 5,000 people might be slightly problematic though.
Yeah, but this is on the simulation. This is just where the hologram is. Taking
Oh,
place.
okay. Yeah, that'd be fine.
I'm taking your idea and running with
and
it.
expanding with it.
Yeah, you can't interfere with the actual match. All you can do is disturb the other people, and
That would be fine.
yeah.
I was actually going to ask you, CCP Antiquarian, how big is that arena we talked about? Because we explained the elements of it, but
Oh Christ!
How big is it?
No,
125. You're very close.
Is it 125?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
120
that
was
five-
safe assumption.
I was talking
Your
to
margin of
Swift.
safety, quite literally, yeah.
Was talking to CCP Swift. He said that last 5 doesn't really matter.
yeah, that's what he thought.
Yeah,
Dang.
there we go. That's
Yeah.
why I have bad data.
It's better to assume 120 than 130.
Yeah, very true.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Right, so in space, they will see like I think it's a red line, right?
Yeah, so I've added now a little mesh effect to the arena. If you look at it from the outside as a regular viewer, you won't see it. If you're a player competing in the arena and you're getting to about 100, I think it's like about 115 now, it starts to like visually appear. So they see like a little warning to say, hey, maybe you should like think about not going in this
It
direction
should be
much further.
gold. It should be like, come.
Yeah, beckons forth. Yeah.
Did you use the same effect that we used in the
Abyssals.
Abyss?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that.
When one hits that big mesh, that red line,
The
they
edge
go
of glory.
poof.
Yeah, so on the next server tick, so this is the interesting thing. You could be at 126 kilometers, the server ticks, and then you just explode. Or the added fun that a lot of players generally do when they have made the decision that they're going to boundary violate is they head to one of those micro jump beacons. They keep burning because it takes a little bit of time to spool up. They keep burning towards the edge of the arena. But the fun thing is they can't go too fast because they could actually go out of the arena before it kicks off.
Mhm.
But they have to go slow enough as well so that they're there that the effect goes off.
So you
And they
need to
try
have
and-
perfect speed.
Yeah, perfect speed.
Yeah.
And they have this fun little mini game that they've introduced in each tournament is who can boundary violate the furthest. So they try and like
The
see
record's
who
like
they can-
232, which meant someone managed to travel about 7 kilometers past the boundary, have the MJD fire before the server tick, and then it kills them.
and it kills them. Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're probably wrong.
But towards the end of the match, when one team has been, I'll say routed, but not yet defeated, the other team is allowed to harvest from wrecks, right?
Of course, yeah.
Correct,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's quite common, in fact, with the flagships specifically, to try and do that. You want to increase your value of your flagship. Sometimes you see the surviving team will try and end the match quickly by boundary violating. So you'll see teams lock them down, hold them in position, not kill the last player, so they can go around and salvage. You see like tactics like that start to appear.
But also, you could deprive.
You could jump out the arena and
yeah.
stop them getting your flagship
Exactly.
modules.
Not
if you want.
today,
Yeah.
Satan.
That's
Exactly.
happened, of course. Infamous quote from Starfleet Commander: "Kill the Balgorn, don't let him boundary." That's exactly what they were trying to do, and lost the match because of it.
All right, so
F.
flagships. We've
Flagships.
touched on it lightly right now. Let's dive a little deeper. What are flagships? And why are they
I
special?
think we should start earlier. What is a flag, and what is a ship?
And what happens when you combine the two?
It's
You
a ship
two are
with
very
a flag.
philosophical today.
Today.
All the time.
Sorry.
Flagship, CCP Zelus, go.
Smooth as butter.
Yeah, perfect. So flagships are a little bit of an exception to the rule, shall we say. You get to nominate a flagship before the finals basically kick off. These are traditionally battleships, or I've also now introduced the ability where teams can bring Alliance tournament ships from the previous 4
Since
tournaments?
17 onwards.
Yeah, since 17 onwards, for the cruisers and frigate sizes as well. So you can have the option essentially of those 3 categories of ships. Traditionally, I mean, even this tournament, they're going to be all battleships again, because they have the ability to bypass some of the restrictions that are in place in the rest of the tournament as far as modules are concerned. So you can't, the general rule of thumb is you can't bring officer modules, for example, that would prolong your health extensively. So you can't bring repair modules, but you can bring like some resistance modules. But traditionally, it's also damage modules or some electronic warfare effects as well that you can bring.
Yeah, I mean, the Balgorn is a historically popular flagship because it gets a bonus, quite a substantial bonus to status webifier range. And then when you combine that with high-end officer webs, specifically the Tobias modified status webifier, you can get a Balgorn that can web out to around 56 kilometers with links and heat. This means that because we spoke earlier on, you must warp between 0 and 50. If you warp your Balgorn in at the center of the arena, the enemy can be no more than 50 kilometers away at the start of the match. If you're remote seaboard, so you can lock really quickly, you can lock and web the enemy logistics ship at 50 kilometers before he has time to move away. Guaranteed every time. That is an 80 billion web, or roughly, so it is an expensive thing to do. And if you lose your flagship, of course, CCP Zelus will tell you what happens then.
Then you can't bring another one. It's just, I mean, you can bring another one of that ship. So, for example, you could bring another Balgorn again, but it's then the flagship restrictions that weren't there. You just have to bring a regular Balgorn that has to apply to the regular rules. It can't break any rules. So it's always a case of try and keep it alive for as long as possible.
And a regular Bal could be banned, whereas
Yes.
your flagship cannot be banned.
So yeah, that's the other important aspect for flagships. Absolutely, is you can't ban them. You can apply, for example, if you decide, if we use the same example, if you decide that you want to ban a Balgorn, you can bring a flagship Balgorn if you want, but you just can't bring a Tech 2 version.
Yeah, and this was quite popular in Alliance Tournament 17, for example, where the Barghest was a very popular flagship, and we saw a lot of like double or even triple Barghest comps. You ban out the Barghest, you can't bring the triple, but you can still bring your one flagship Barghest. The other thing to mention is why this is important is the restrictions for normal ships are Tech 2 modules, essentially. So if you're trying to fit your Balgorn, your normal non-flag Balgorn, you can only use that Tech 2 status webifier. Maybe you're short of CPU or power grid for something. Normally you maybe take like the best name that you can get, like a Dead Space or Officer module, if you've got the money, or even just a faction module. You cannot do that in the Alliance with regular ships. You have to just make do with up to +3 implants and Tech 2 modules.
Yeah, the other interesting thing as well is flagship points are still exactly the same as their regular corresponding ship. So even though you're increasing the value of the modules they bring, their actual ship value still remains exactly the same. I get in the grin again.
Oh, yeah. I have to ask, do we have data on, because Overload mentions the price of a Tobias, and like I don't know what a Bal goes for these days, but do we have data on the average in-game cost of a flagship?
Yes, 100%. So they go on Zedkill. They go on Zedkill.
Oh, sorry. Don't worry.
So back in the olden days, before before abyssal modules, for example, it was very easy. You saw it on Zedkill, or other kill boards are available. Then abyssal modules became popular, and we allowed them in the tournament, and the value on kill boards went down substantially because obviously they don't know what the value of that module is, so it's just shown as 1 ISK or 0.01 ISK.
0.01, yeah.
And we saw in Alliance Tournament 17, I think it was, one of the flagship Barghest that died was on Zedkill for like 2 billion, but when we looked into it, it was probably a 450 billion-esque flagship. So we, of course, banned abyssal modules because it's this balance of entertainment and competitive spirit. So now, yes, when a flagship goes down, it's quite funny because you get people who are active in the EVE Online community, and they're just like playing their game, and they have a Zedkill tab open somewhere, and something pops up like a 250 bill Balgorn's just died, and they're like, "What the fuck is what is this?" Yeah. So they head over to Reddit, like, "Lol, look at this noob with these 250 billion Balgorn," and everyone's like, "It's the tournament, you idiot!" Like, I love it. Favorite part.
So we banned abyssal modules. What did the players get to ban for their next 2?
They get to ban themselves by just not turning up.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
But yeah, normally at the end of each tournament, I do like a little wrap-up post as well. Usually I try and find the most expensive flagship that was lost during the tournament and usually give it a little bit of a highlight as well. The average cost, it's a very good question.
Can we get a list during the stream this year of the biggest losers
Wow.
in history.
Ooh.
Well, so this one is an interesting one because do we count adjusted for inflation? Because then we have to go back to those matches with like Camel Empire versus Pandemic Legion, where like 5 AT ships died, and that was just going to win every time. That's like a 2 trillion-esque match now.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think
I'm
we
just
look
talking
only
about
at flagships.
single pilots
Yeah.
of flagships, and yeah, we can do some adjustment. We can do some.
Yeah.
We're smart.
Good idea.
One of us is smart. At least, all right,
Someone
together.
in
The
this
editor-
building
the
is
editor
smart.
is smart.
Together, we know at least one smart person.
In summary,
Mhm.
flagships can be super shiny, whereas regular ships cannot.
Mhm.
They can be brought even if said ship is banned.
Mhm.
And I know we mentioned it earlier on, but I just wanted to highlight the fact again that if you kill someone's flagship, as CCP Antiquarian mentions, you can loot the wreck and you can upgrade your flagship. So if you've got like a 2 billion-esque web on your thing because you don't want to spend like 50 billion, and then you kill the enemy's flagship and they drop a 50 billion-esque web, you can
steal
one,
it.
sell it, or two, put it on yours and upgrade yours. Especially if you're making a deep run, this actually might be a good idea.
Sell it and then use the ISK to upgrade your own flagship. Is
That's
the other
also
one.
potential.
The other super interesting thing is I saw there was a real amount of positive like feedback with last year with regards to it running the Alliance Tournament running the same time as the Crimson Harvest, which has its own increased drop chance for PvP loot.
90% outside of
90%?
outside of HiSec, starting on October 10th.
This year's one is which also means that this year you'll have the increased drop chance again for being able to upgrade your flagship on the fly.
Yep. So remember, if you lose your flagship, shoot the wreck before your enemy is looted.
Evil.
Before it boundaries.
Or that.
All that, yeah. Die at like 124.5 kilometers. So it's like the risk of
Bait them over the
do I
boundary.
do I go for the loot or do I shoot out of the boundary
We
when I
still
go
have
for
a
it?
2K interaction range for
Yeah.
Rex. Come on.
Yeah, but you got to stop your ship in
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it's the momentum.
How many times have you went to loot a cannon and just shot right
Shot
past it?
it and then come back.
I
Yeah.
feel like that is a skill issue.
Get good.
Get good at Alliance Tournament looting specifically.
All right,
Well,
so
it has
back
happened-
to that summary.
Just quickly, last year I believe. So this is a good one. Someone looted a expensive modules out of a flagship, then they died,
Yeah.
and then it dropped again, and it got picked up the second time. So
I remember that.
But by which team? The original one or the stealing team?
I think it was the stealing
Stealing
team
team,
got it
yeah.
the second
I think
time
it
as
was,
well,
yeah.
but of course they managed to loot their own wreck to get it again.
Horrific
Whoops.
ship centipede.
yeah.
Sorry, go. Yeah, it's your
All
turn
right,
now.
so back to that summary.
Blingy ship, same point value. If it dies, you can't bring another one. It's there.
There's only one.
There is only one. It's the Highlander rule. It's only one. It's nominated before the tournament, and yeah, when it's fielded, the teams will be advised that it is fielded 30 seconds roughly before the match starts, so they will know essentially the same time as we switch over to the arena.
All right, and if it lives, you can bring it again and potentially upgrade with your lootings from the previous match.
rounds, yeah, absolutely.
Nothing says you have to bring the same fit on it as well. Lots
Yeah,
of teams
very
will
true.
have variations of their flagship fit depending on what their comp is.
Do they not get to swap fits on the ships that they're bringing otherwise?
Yeah. So they can bring whatever they want, but
Yeah,
some
like-
people think that because your flagship is fit one way, it always has to be fit that way.
Mhm.
You can have multiple sort of copies of it as long as they bring like the flagship Balgard. It doesn't have to be the exact same one. You can set it up differently every time.
All right, then there's one more topic I want to cover slightly deeper that we've already touched upon a little bit. I want to go back to bans and just dive a little deeper into the system and why bans are important.
It's a very good question. So traditionally, every match you have been practicing over time with a particular composition of ships. It's usually like your group of 10 is unified to be achieving a particular comp, as is the phrase that we use, which is dealing with the enemy's composition. So you want to do something in particular, you want to kite them away, then every ship in your particular composition is designed to do that. The ban element introduces hey, if I don't want that team to be doing that particular thing, so let's ban the ships that enable the team to do that the best. So you have the ability to ban those ships and then potentially change the way the match dynamic is going to unfold. You have several bans for each hull now. So you can ban each hull, when I say each hull, each size of ship. So that'd be battlecruiser, battleship, so on and so forth. You can do 3 of each of those. So one of the interesting things is when you build that particular comp up, there's some degree of substitutions you can make. So like I'm going to swap an Ishtar for a Stratios, for example, if you want to like maintain an armor drone comp, for example. So you can do a limited amount of substitutions. So you can have that option during the banning phase, like, hey, I'm going to ban that ship, but because you can also substitute it for this ship, I'm going to ban that as well. So I'm going to force you to have to change your entire composition to support that.
Can we talk banning metagame and
It's
like AT
so
mind games?
mind games, yeah.
The whole like, do I have spies that know what this team is bringing? And am I bringing what I actually want to have for the rest of the tournament in round 1? Or am I just convincing everyone that that's what I'm getting so they ban it out and then I'm winning with something else?
Yep.
One of my favorite things with that is when someone has an alt character in Jita that lists all of the particular sets of modules, and then they have a feed that goes off to say, hey, look, the person on this team has just bought this module, suggesting they're going to bring these types of ships. Okay, well, knowing that they're going to bring these ships, we're going to bring our counter to this particular comp. So therefore, we're going to not show that when we're doing the bans, and we're going to ban these other things. It's mind-blowing.
Last year, I remember someone bought out all the Pontifexes
I
in
remember
Jita
that.
just before some matches, and then one team ended up paying $2 billion for a Pontifex.
Ooh.
If you have no inside information, is it smart to ban out what is bad for you?
So
Knowing that you're tipping your hand?
You're
about-
also giving it away.
ban strategy is an interesting thing to theorycraft, and all the top tier teams will have their own ban strategy in the way they do it. A lot of the top tier teams, you'll see them just doing the same ban strategy every single time. Like, they will not react. They have their bans that they're going to do, and they're going to ban those out because they're trying to avoid telegraphing stuff. Sometimes, like, if someone bans out like everything for like shield rush, you're like, okay, they really don't want to face a shield rush in this comp. And depending on what level they're at, you can either make the assumption, well, let's bring some sort of rush and we'll probably catch them. Or they're trying to make you think they don't want to fly shield rush because they want you to bring a shield rush. Like, it gets this like mind game. And we talk about this on stream a lot of you end up in this spiral.
Mm-hmm.
So someone bans like the Armageddon Navy issue and like, oh, okay, so they don't want like this and that, so we should ban this, and then that'll mean they'll ban that. And they end up banning like the Badger. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah,
like, why
we're
did
so
we ban
smart.
that?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, they get themselves totally into this like pit of despair.
One of my favorite ones, I think it was either 17 or 18. I remember one team at one point just put all their comps on a piece of, I think it was like polystyrene, and they sat back and got a dart and just went, okay, we're bringing that this time. And they're like,
I like
Do
this.
they have someone who's just
Chance.
really bad at darts, or like
Like,
I feel like
they
I
can
feel
have a
like
dartboard,
you can still pick what you're
feel-
bringing. Like,
No. What if you bring like a spinning dartboard? So you just throw the dart and pray it hits one.
Are you from a carnival family?
I am not, but
Because I feel like that's the general vibe. Like, it's totally cool. That's not judgment.
I am not. But I probably could have been with this in my mind.
Be like, you could be a trapeze artist.
I think I'd be really bad at that. I was
Juggler? Can you-
historically bad at
Do you have a
gymnastics.
very small car?
No,
I don't know.
I am. Let's not go
Can
here.
I have your shovel?
Going back to something CCP Overload just said, as this is an introductionary show to the Alliance tournament, you mentioned a couple of words there. Shield comp. Can you
Yes.
give a quick explainer of what that is so people know now what you've talked about?
Yes, a shield comp or shield composition would be one that primarily uses shield-based tanking. So quite common to see like Kaldari ships, maybe like a sort of kiting around Mimitar comp with Typhoons, for example. Would be quite common to see them running shield. That allows you to put more damage mods in your low slots, tend to have bigger signature radius, tend to be a bit faster than armor compositions. And if your opponents have a pretty powerful shield composition, you could target ban them by banning things like the Scimitar, which is probably the best Tech 2 logistics cruiser for a kiting shield comp, just for virtue of being faster than the Basilisk, for example.
All right.
I'm gonna put the.
Your comments, CCP Antiquarian, please.
Gonna ask a question. I'm not gonna ask.
you can ask.
No, ask a question.
No judgment here.
There's no. I'm just like, no.
Okay.
What's that? Bazzy's good.
It's not as fast as a Scimitar, which is, if you're kiting, important.
Yes, indeed.
It's fine.
All right, we'll have a like Basi Scimitar fight at some point in the hallway.
Are we actually? This is maybe a segue. Are we talking about AT ships at any point in this?
Well, previous prizes? Or
Yeah.
you want to go on to the Atana? Or
I'm just
Yeah.
asking questions.
The Atana is not allowed in the tournament.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Mm.
The Atana, for those watching and maybe don't know, there's two Alliance Group projects in particular, the Atana and the Rubisu. The Atana is it's a logistics cruiser, shield logistics cruiser, and the Rebisu is the armor equivalent. Back in the day, if you had an armor composition, you could be banned out of it if they banned your Guardian and your Oneros. But if you had a Rebisu, you couldn't be banned out of it. So that was why they were powerful. They were very rare, they're very expensive, and they are not allowed to be used.
Yep.
Weak.
Right.
I'm upset. I liked
Good.
They
watching-
also cost a small fortune, which makes a massive barrier of entry into every
I
tournament.
mean, you jack the points way down. This is how it should work. Ships that are super expensive should have super low point values, so people are encouraged to bring them and pop them.
And then just bring more so they get more expensive?
Absolutely, 100%.
All the like exclusive ship owners out there are like,
I used to have like a list of how many were left, like a little chart, and during the Alliance tournament I'd be sitting there, I'd be like, "Come on, baby, come
it's like a
on."
bingo card.
Yeah.
Whenever someone
goes another one.
someone would ping me from Ezekiel and be like, "Sorry, Zed," and be like, "Hey, did you see this?" And it's like an old silver magnate or something. And I'd be like, "Oh, check it right
Another one off.
Pop them."
All right, I have one more ban-related question, and then you guys get to make closing remarks because we are running out of time. Last year's finals, we saw what we called conquest bans.
Mm-hmm.
Question 1, will we be seeing those again? And question 2, please explain.
Do you want to take this one or shall I? Should we do a combination?
Can we do the please explain first, and then
So
will we see them again?
conquest
Yes.
ban. So stand by. All right. So conquest bans are complicated. Unless
'em simple.
you're going to get to the top end, the pointy end of the tournament, you don't really have to worry about them. But sometimes teams get that far and haven't considered it. So think about it a little bit. But essentially, when you get to the top end, you're going to be doing best of matches, best of 3s, and the grand final is a best of 5. When you win in a best of match, every ship that you have brought in that winning composition is banned, in addition to the bans for the next match as well. So you go into match 2 with the up to 10, if you brought 10 unique ships, all banned, plus whatever is banned for the second match. If in the best of 5, if you win again, you now have potentially 20 ships plus bans. And if it goes to the last match, so the third match in a best of 3, or the 5th match in a best of 5, all conquest bans reset, and it's back to just straight up one match, winner takes all.
Yep.
So it's only the bans from the winning team that roll along.
Correct.
If you
And-
lose, you don't get to bring everything again?
Yes, so let's say match 1, Team A wins, so Team A's got all those ships banned. Only Team A, just to be clear, not Team B. Team B can bring whatever they want, including ships that are banned from Team A.
But not the bans from set match.
Not the bans, not the regular bans, just that team is affected by them. Then let's say Team B wins the second match. Now both teams have one set of conquest bans affecting them, plus the normal bans. And then let's just say this was a best of 3. It goes to that third match. All bans would be reset.
You raise a really good point, though, because it was not something I actually explained earlier on. Even though red team and then blue team do separate ban phases, the bans actually in those regular phases actually apply to both sides. They don't apply to a singular side. Only during the conquest bans do bans apply to a singular side.
Okay, now I gotta ask, which is the better strategy for going into game 1 of one of these series matches? Do you bring something that you don't care about having it banned out if you win, or do you bring your A game and hope to win,
that is
and
the
also that
great
you're
question.
going to which is
So
the better move?
This has gone both ways for teams. Sometimes, especially if both teams have their flagship left, you will see one team bring essentially people call it a headshot comp. It's not designed to win. It's designed to apply a lot of damage to a single ship and kill it, removing the flagship. So if you can bait your opponents into bringing a regular comp and you just bring a headshot comp, bam, kill their flagship, you get those 10 ships banned out, but you don't really care because that wasn't a winning comp anyway. It doesn't really matter.
But I mean, that does depend on the other team bringing their flag.
Yes, so this is where it kind of goes back and forth. And we've seen this happen. Alliance Tournament 17, I believe in the best of 3 for the lower bracket, I think it was, or I can't remember which one, but Volta got their flagship headshot by essentially a headshot comp, but then managed to pull through and go into the grand final.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly the sequence of events, but someone brought a headshot, and that's exactly what happened. Now, you can, if you want to play risky, try and do that, or you could just try and win straight up. And we have seen teams come from behind. We have seen teams bring that thing, and the other team hasn't brought a flagship comp, and now they're 1-0 down with almost nothing to show for it. So it is a risk.
I think we saw it a little bit last year as well with suddenly Dominic's is also kind of thrown out, where it was just more of a case of, okay, well, we haven't seen these the whole tournament. Now suddenly have 3 on the field. What's going on
What's
here?
going to happen?
I mean, that was the other thing, like in previous tournaments as well, we used to have a point inflation aspect. So if you bought the same ship, you used to have your points increased. So normally what they would try and do is during the conquest bans is you'd end up having, like, because those ships are going to get banned, you just try and duplicate them so that it was just less impactful to lose out on some of those ships. Whereas this year we don't have a point inflation cost, so we might see like duplicate comps being bought again this time around.
We might see new shenanigans.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, we'll end this episode at least, unless one of you have any closing remarks.
No closing remarks. The defense rest, Your Honor.
All right.
Is this is Gridlocked? Are we
Unloaded.
All right.
are we entering out? Are we like,
Yeah.
thank you for tuning in to
Click here
Gridlocked.
for next week's episode.
Click here for next week's episode. I've been CCP Antiquarian here with Lumi, Overload, and Zelus, and we'll see you at the Alliance Tournament.